Hey Steelers Nation, it's Joe Rocky with the Pittsburgh Syndicate. In this episode, we're going to be breaking down that first preseason game, the first team offense in particularly from that matchup against Tampa Bay. And I got to tell you, I'm already starting to plan the Super Bowl trip because based upon the three things that the Steelers needed to do from last season to this season, the first preseason game showed that at least schematically they have approached those and they approached them in a high-end game. Now, throw the disclaimer out before we start any of this. Tampa Bay is one of the absolute worst rosters in the NFL, and they did not play everyone. So that does need to be said. But one of the key things that we had to focus on schematically for the Pittsburgh Steelers to be more successful this year than last year was Kenny Pickett had to consistently throw the ball downfield more. And when we see this happening, we would know there were good results. So in this game, when Kenny played, first off, he only throws one incomplete pass, and that was because he was scrambling and essentially just trying to check it down. His ball placement was amazing. And I'm going to highlight a couple of key plays. This first one is going to be Deontay Johnson, if you go back and remember it, when he's on the sideline, and Kenny puts that ball so tight to Deontay's body that he doesn't need to extend his arms at all. And in terms of accuracy, it is the absolute perfect location to place the football. And that is the difference between getting yourself a spot where the receiver gets blown up, drops the ball, steps out of bounds, versus a toe-tapping catch. And one of the things, Steelers Nation, we have to accept is that Deontay is basically going to be a catch the ball, don't get hit, step out of bounds receiver. In this game on Friday, we saw Deontay catch 3 passes, 2 of which he goes out of bounds. Remember, last year, 90% of the time the ball was thrown his way, the clock stopped, meaning it was either an incomplete pass or he stopped out of bounds. One of the things that really, really upset Steelers Nation was how Deontay started running backwards to avoid contact. And that's what he was doing. And we see here in the first preseason game, on the first pass to him, he caught the ball and then rolled into the center of the field rather than to the sideline. To me, that was a very encouraging thing to see with this season. Now, it could be Deontay just went out of bounds for his first 4 years because he was always hurt. Not the case, but that could be the excuse there. As we're at here, we're seeing he's starting to push it for more yardage, which is key. The other thing that I really liked with this game plan was that with the exception of Deontay, we were putting the ball into the middle of the field. Hitting Muth for a first down, boom, second play of the drive. In the middle of the field, again, in a spot where only Muth's going to catch it, no interceptions, is a massive sign of two things. First, when you're attacking the middle of the field, it is showing inherent confidence in the quarterback. Because if you're going to throw an interception, it's most likely going to happen between the numbers on an errant pass, regardless of whether it gets tipped by the receiver, overthrown, someone runs the wrong route. Regardless, it's going to be a quarterback mistake putting the ball somewhere where it shouldn't be. The more you put the ball in the middle of the field, the harder you are to defend, first of all. But the second also implicitly is showing trust in Kenny. And to see that right off of the jump is something I found very, very encouraging for the Week 1 matchup. The other thing that I really want to highlight here that I really liked a lot was when we look at this play here, it's play action that Kenny is running. We didn't do a whole lot of play action last year, again, due to lack of confidence that Kenny would be able to pick it up and process this. And when we looked at the play action play where Kenny ends up rolling to his left, not only does he have a wide open check down underneath where he would have gotten 2 or 3 yards, and that would have been the play call last year. But instead, we see looking at the middle of the receiver on this levels pattern, which ends up being Deontay. Yes, from my personal opinion, I would have liked it to have been so he could have caught the ball at an angle rather than straight into the sideline to pick up some extra yardage. And that's something that can be adjusted later on in the year. But it kind of is still a good play because it's past the sticks. And anytime you're throwing the ball past the sticks, it's always a good thing. I really liked how it was. Now, the highlight that everyone is talking about the offense on the drive overall is the touchdown, obviously. And when we looked at how that play was set up, Tampa put 10 players within 6 yards of the line of scrimmage, all within the sticks, and 1 safety super deep. while trying to press George Pickens. And the one thing that I think will be incredibly valuable from this play that I think has the most ramifications moving into the regular season and beyond, you can't press George Pickens and think it's going to work out. He gets off of this thing in 3 steps. He's open. And I like the way that we're doing the route combination here by Freiermuth stepping up and doing a short curl route, which the ball should never be thrown to because he's short of the sticks. It sucked in defensive pressure to him, allowing Pickens to sneak behind him to get past the first down marker when he catches that ball. So even if Pickens is tackled at impact, when he catches the ball, it's still a first down, meaning the play is going to be success no matter what. But what we see is his desire to constantly push the ball downfield for more yardage in Pickens is exactly how you get this touchdown. He wasn't looking to catch, fall, and collapse like a Patriot. He was looking to make big things happen. And I think that overall, this is why when we look at the dynamic of the team, George Pickens is the best person to go with. Now, there's some other things I want to highlight from this first drive that I was very happy with. There were 2 individual first downs where we got another first down on the same play without any penalties. That is something that is very good. You always want to have that. That was one of the things we talked about. You have to have more explosives in this offense. You have to win net yardage per play. How many yards do you get per play? How many yards per play do you allow? You win that by getting first downs on first downs. It's one of the most important stats to having a successful offense. On that note, one of the things that we did not see particularly well were successful runs. We had one great run with Warren essentially going right up the right tackle, or right guard rather, and getting his first down. And the other 5, not so much so. And we can make an argument that, sure, we don't want to get the backs hurt and press it. But when the first team offense was out there, it was not exactly spectacular in terms of running the ball. And I really do think that that's something that will improve as it goes on. I do think there's a large element of Najee knew that he was hurt, and the whole team knew that. He was hurt during training camp last year. Let's not have it happen again. And therefore, you're not doing as many of the game reps as we would have otherwise. Under Cowher, we would have thrown the ball 3 times and run it 40. That would have been the preseason game plan. I like that we came out throwing it. I like that Kenny showed amazing ball placement. On every single one of his passes, he put the ball exactly where he needed to be. This is not the same Kenny Pickett we saw last year. He is drastically improved. And this offense, all it had to do was step up to about 12th-ish in the NFL. And what it showed here, again, against the scrubs, maybe even these scrubs of these scrubs. But what it showed is schematically, they are ready to step up to the challenge. Certainly, we'll get more information when we play against better opponents. But where we're sitting right now, from what we were able to gauge from the offense, they did exactly what they needed to this point from the end of last season to now. Healthier, more competitive, schematically more advanced, and more schematically competitive on that note. This is exactly what Steelers Nation should be looking for and loving. This is why I've said all offseason, one of 2 things are happening in the AFC North. Either Joe Burrow is winning the MVP or the Pittsburgh Steelers are getting the bye. There will be no other options because this defense is elite and the offense is catching up to them. And it's very hard, no matter who you are in the NFL, to have your offense and your defense at the same level. Just the virtues of how you are allowed to construct a team. It is incredibly difficult to have both at a very good or above level at the same time. That's why you see so many one-sided affairs. So when we look at the Steelers here, that defense is elite. And if the offense can get to very good, ooh, I'm telling you right now, I'm already really considering figuring out when and how I'm going to be getting to that Super Bowl.